Hi, everyone. Meteorologist Joe Chaffee here on this Tuesday after Easter Monday, after Easter Sunday. I took Easter Monday off, just like they do in Europe. So it was really nice. I hope your Easter holiday was terrific, as mine was very good. And now we're going to take a look at the weather changes that have occurred across the Northeast as the wind has turned northeast. If we look at all the wind barbs here, nothing especially strong, but they're running every bit of 5 to 15 miles an hour. So that is bringing down cooler air. And you can see that cooler air from the temperature profiles in upstate New York, which are in the upper 30s and low 40s, and even a little colder as you get into southeastern Canada. There's a big high that's building down to the south. So we're going to be watching how this cool air builds down, and it's going to create this onshore flow as we move into Wednesday and Wednesday night. So that's going to start to add in some moisture. I just want to show you, by the way, in terms of the severe weather risks today, the radar this morning is fairly busy across Minnesota and Iowa, and you can see this line of storms that has developed there and heading into western Wisconsin. There's a general risk of thunderstorms all through the west, with some pockets of marginal risk for severe in northern Utah. You don't see that too often. Also, the risk of some thunderstorms in extreme northern and northwestern Colorado back through Wyoming, and then a marginal risk of severe weather across Nebraska for today. This is, I just want to make sure. So this is the timing of for this is all day today. And then, of course, you have also a general risk of thunderstorms across much of the south where we have this stalled front. And there actually are some pretty impressive thunderstorms off the coast of Texas and in and around the Houston area this morning. So that's pretty interesting. Let's look at the radar, and there's that that line to the north with the heavy storms there. Here's some, we've got some showers across eastern Tennessee and northern Georgia, western North Carolina. And there's that area back along from southeastern Texas all the way down into just off of Brownsville, kind of a snaking line that's offshore, and even some showers over the Florida Keys this morning. So weather pretty busy there. And we're going to see if I can get this thing to go to the west. Can I do that? Is it going to let me? Yep. Here we go. In the west, we have some extensive precipitation and rain moving in through central California, parts of northern California, on up through Washington and Oregon. And we've got some showers and probably some thunderstorms moving into parts of southeastern Idaho in the highest elevations. This is more than likely in this area. Of course, we're talking about snow. So let's take a look at where we're going with all this with over the next few days. The overall pattern, to me, has kind of reverted back to something that you would normally see for mid to late April, which is this tendency for sun blocking and the idea of surface lows that are going to try and come close to you or go a little bit further south or a little bit further north, and high pressure that's going to want to build up into southeastern Canada and create an onshore flow, which it's doing here going into tonight and Wednesday. And we'll probably have some light rain or drizzle to deal with here Wednesday night into Thursday. And another front is setting up. This is for Thursday morning. So we've got a low that's running up to the northern Great Lakes and a warm front that extends out to the coast. So we're going to try and get back into some warmer air. The question is whether this onshore, the high to the north, is going to hold that front back a bit. Meanwhile, in the west, there's more activity, another system coming into the Pacific Northwest for Thursday into Friday, and you can see it spreads some extensive rain and snow from Washington and Oregon into Idaho, and eventually this one wants to bring it up into Colorado and Wyoming as we move into Friday, while in the Northeast, that low makes its way eastward, and we're going to get one of these warm front, cold front combinations, so I would more than likely see some showers and maybe even a thunderstorm with that. Now, this system that's coming into the west and goes into the Rockies, weather models have been kind of keying on this moving toward the mid-Atlantic coast, and we've had several model runs of this, which is going to open up the door for a possibility of a bit of a soaking rain here for later Sunday night into Monday morning. Models are kind of questioning, in terms of strength. We see from run to run, there's been a kind of a trend to be further south and a little weaker, but we'll see how it plays. More action again in the west. We get several systems that come in one after another. You can see it there, especially in the Pacific Northwest. If this is right, this is at day 10 now, right at the end of April, April 28th. You basically have a stream of moisture moving in from the Pacific going all the way across the northern half of the United States. So you know what? Why don't we take a look at what the upper air with this looks like to match it up? And there's your surface, okay? So we'll take a look at what the upper air looks like. And you can see that sort of makes sense if the GFS is right. So it's got this deep trough here in the west and a ridge in the east. That's probably that's a pretty good reason as to why you're seeing all that moisture flow coming in to the western part of the United States. This is now at day 10, so we're at April 28th. Now I think let's go back. Let's look back and see how we get there, okay? Because that's always important to see how the upper flow gets to where it winds up. You have a little bit of blocking up near Greenland, not too much, but the flow across the United States basically is west to east this week, and you still have these weather systems. You can see them here. This is for Friday. Here's the one for Sunday. There's another one off the west coast. So we'll work through those. The pattern supports this into early next week. And then after that, it looks like the model wants to make this deep trough out in the west, which is, that's interesting. It pulls the vortex up. You can see you can see what's happening in central Canada. You got this vortex that's sort of controlling the flow, which may, and there's ridge out in the Atlantic, and here are your weather systems that are moving along in the southern part of the jet, which makes total sense, of course. And what the model is suggesting is that over the course of the longer term, after the day 6 and 7, which is now around, we're looking at Tuesday, April 25th, that vortex lifts up and out, and then you suddenly have a deep trough that wants to go into the west. Now, whether that is correct or not remains to be seen, but it's an interesting development here, as the model wants to make for a deep trough in the west and a ridge in the east. So that storminess and that rainy weather continues in the western part of the United States. The east in this scenario would tend to get warm, at least for a few days with that big ridge like that. Onshore flow accepted, of course, which is something we'd have to look at. Now, it looks like it's temporary because it lasts for a few days, and then that trough kind of reestablishes itself in the east. And you start to have a bit more of a typical, you're back to this sort of typical late April. Now we're into May, so this would be a late April, early May type pattern. So, a lot of interesting developments going forward, and I think we're going to have, more chances for rain here in the Northeast. By the way, the rainfall deficits have been, virtually wiped out, or at least wiped out enough so that drought is not a big deal. But in spite of all the rain that we had during the month of March into early April, because of the last 10 days or so have been rain-free, and in particular because we've had this kind of really hot weather for Easter Sunday, the ground is pretty well baked up. There were a few brush fires that broke out yesterday over parts of New Jersey. Wouldn't be surprised to see that happen in isolated instances today, or in the Hudson Valley as well. And not so much on Long Island because we've been getting a lot of the winds coming in from off the ocean to keep things moist. But the air is very dry today. That will not be the case tomorrow. So this is just a temporary phenomena. The Weather Service mentioned it last night. They didn't even mention it today, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there just in case. All right, so everybody have a great day. Back to work, I guess, for most of you by now. You can check out all the latest website posts on meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Angry Ben is back from a few days off today, and he's got the perspective for New York City on nycweathernow.com. And you can, of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the little red subscribe button on the channel page. It's absolutely free, and you will get notifications every time a new video comes up, which is usually once a day unless I take a day off. And it really helps me with my standing with Google. So I would really appreciate it when you subscribe. It helps me out. All right, folks, have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.